Every year, I try to watch every single Best Picture nominee because it's so fun to get to talk to other film fans about movies that are critically acclaimed, that everyone is talking about, and you kind of feel like you're in on the cool kids table. And so this year really felt like my year to get to watch all of them. I have watched a couple other Best Picture nominees in a couple of my other videos. In my Golden Globes video, I watched Emilia Perez, and in my SAG video, I watched Conclave. And then I have talked about Dune, and I've seen Wicked. I talked about it a little bit in Favorite Movies of 2024 video. So that left The Substance, Anora, Nickel Boys, I'm Still Here, A Complete Unknown, and The Brutalist. Which should I get to? Hello all, and welcome for the very first time on the channel to my movie room. And today, I was initially going to come in here and watch Captain America: The First Avenger and probably take a nap because I'm a little bit tired. And then I decided to check to see if I had the Nickel Boys screener still. And it turns out I do, but it expires tomorrow. It's at February 19th, and I was like, that's tomorrow. I'm gonna watch Nickel Boys now, because I think this is the only way I'm gonna be able to watch this movie is through the screener link, because it doesn't come on to MGM Plus until February 28th, and I feel like that's also gonna be the same day that A Complete Unknown and potentially The Brutalist hit streaming. I don't know if both of them will, or I don't know. I feel like Complete Unknown will hit Hulu around that time. That's Oscars weekend for anyone not tracking the dates. And that's a very limited amount of time for me to try to watch a bunch of these movies. We are going to watch Nickel Boys, and I will give you guys my thoughts. I just finished Nickel Boys, and I feel really emotionally heavy. It's not the kind of film I feel like I am somewhat grateful I'm not doing like a completely separate review for, because the movie, I think especially with the first person angle, it has this kind of impact on you. It's really emotional, which goes without saying. The one thing I will say on a lighter note is that I could recognize Daveed Diggs' voice anywhere. I was like, I know that man. I know that that's Daveed Diggs. It almost comes across like a mixed media project of art, where you have multiple, like you're being shown photographs and found footage and footage relating to the subject matter of the film mixed with almost like B-roll of the film, photographs that look real but they're of the actors from the film, and it all culminates in something that is really impactful. I also find it crazy that stuff like this still exists. I know it sounds really stupid and insignificant to compare a really horribly, somewhat racially motivated tragedy from the past and connect that to Paris Hilton of all people. But Paris Hilton in recent years, if you haven't kept up with her, you don't know who that is, she's talked a lot about her childhood at these teen reform camps and how they were places of incredible abuse, incredible neglect of children. And that's the thing, is like, this hurts so bad because it's children that are experiencing all these things, and the pure evil of all of the actions in this film in these troubled teen industry. That's what Paris Hilton kind of talks about. And just like imprisoning and enslaving children, and then further abusing them. I think the first person nature, I had kind of briefly heard it was first person. I think it's utilized so well, and I'm in awe of how they shot certain scenes. I'm really, really glad I got to watch it. Again, a lot of these movies haven't gotten wide releases. A lot of these movies haven't like been available to the public yet. They're not streaming. And I think the sad part of that is that a lot of people could, like, these films are so powerful, like this and I'm Still Here. Most people can't watch them, which is crazy. I'm really glad that I got to. I feel very impacted by it, and I'm gonna have to watch something lighter after this, because this was very heavy, and rightfully so. And those are my thoughts on it until I check back in with you later. Hello everyone. Today we are going to be watching Anora, which I got sent as a part of this really, really beautiful neon box. They send one of these every year. I have one for the last 4 years, which is so cool. And it comes with their entire slate. This year's, I really liked the design. So they come with this little book, and you can slide this out, and this has everything in it. So here's the Anora page. We're going to pop this screener DVD out, and we're going to watch it. I bet you're wondering, last clip we saw you watching Nickel Boys in your movie room. Why are you in your office right now? Well, turns out that my plan was to bring, this is so embarrassing, my plan was to bring my Xbox into the other room to use that as a DVD player. Turns out I cannot connect the Xbox to the projector properly. I'd rather have started it than not start it. So that's what we're going to do. Also, this means if I pause the movie at any point, or when I'm done, I'm ready to play Marvel Rivals. Because that's what I'm about now. I'm a Marvel Rivals Bronze 1. Stop. No photos, please. But yeah, anyways, let's watch Anora. Finally. I did end up watching I'm Still Here, Nickel Boys, and of course Anora. And I am excited to get to talk about my thoughts on all three of these films at the same time. I know I kind of went in depth in the middle of this video about my thoughts on Nickel Boys, because honestly that's when the emotions were, when I had the most thoughts about the film. In the week or two since I've seen the movie, I'll be honest, some of it has kind of faded from my mind. I feel like I've watched a couple of the other films since then, and they've just had a bigger impact. I liked the film more. I mean, to be honest, like, Nickel Boys is a very traumatic film. I think I'm Still Here has that as well. I'm Still Here and Nickel Boys kind of get to be on the same level of conversation in this video, I think, for me personally, in the way they both impacted me, and the way that the filmmaking and the cinematography choices were really beautiful, and the visuals on screen. But when we got to Anora, I just found a movie that I think I appreciated more for its, let's even just call it what it is, like its indie-ness, its Gen Z-ness of it all. It feels like a movie I haven't seen before, and that's not to say that's a negative towards I'm Still Here and Nickel Boys. In both of those cases, I feel like they bring something really, really unique and fresh and new to the table of the Best Pictures race, and in much better ways than something like Emilia Perez. Oscars Eve right now, March 1st, as I'm recording this, I can't even believe that movie is in with all of the rest of these. Did fail the challenge. I did not see to this point in time The Substance, A Complete Unknown, or The Brutalist. To be completely honest with you, it got to the point where I was running out of time, and A Complete Unknown and The Brutalist I needed to rent to watch, and there was something just not as compelling about either of those. If one of the two of those wins Best Picture, like, my shot was I'll just be kind of frustrated with myself, I guess, but then I'll probably go and watch it. To be honest, if they don't win, I may not ever watch them, and probably some are going to be angry about that, but I honestly think that's just how it goes sometimes. Like, I think the one thing I did find in this challenge is I'm glad I watched things I otherwise wouldn't have watched, and I'm really grateful for the opportunity to get to see I'm Still Here and Nickel Boys specifically. Those were two films that I think in this entire award season were much harder to get. I believe to this point in time, neither of them is on like VOD. You can't purchase to watch them at home. So I feel very, very excited that I got to see those films and have had conversations with people about those films because I got to watch them prior to the Oscars. And my hope is that if they bring home any awards tomorrow night, it gives them a wider distribution, a bigger audience, and people interested in seeing both of those stories, which I think are so emotionally impactful, politically relevant, just like very, and they both talk about justice. They're very beautiful two films to have in conversation with another. And that's why I feel bad that the one film I've kind of left to this point that I haven't talked about that I loved so much was Anora. It feels like this generation's Pretty Woman. It feels like a Cinderella story that doesn't just follow the traditional beats. It has a lot to say about classism and about economic status and how it feels like, I think it just subverts a fairy tale in so many different ways because of the very grounded, kind of gritty reality that Anora, the character Annie, as she consistently reminds people is her name in the film, how she just I don't know, I think even the movie, like there could be an entire conversation I could have with somebody about why the movie's called Anora and not Annie or something like that. I am also, I think, just really excited by the narrative behind this film, and I've been diving a little bit more behind the scenes into like FYC campaigns, when those became a thing, why there's so much PR and press around the Oscars campaign in this season. But I feel like in the wake of some of the other controversies, this film, and I know it has some, intimacy coordinators and their presence or lack thereof on this film and stuff, I won't get into that now, but there's something about it that does feel truly indie about it. Now, if I had to make my bets right now, I think maybe something like The Brutalist or Conclave that fit a little bit more into that like traditional Oscar winner slot, those feel more likely to win than Anora. But who's to say? I feel like in the last 24 hours, I've seen more people talking about potential Best Picture winner, Anora, potential Best Picture winner. So I'm like, I don't know if I'm just getting excited. I don't know if it's because I saw the film literally this week, and so I'm just still riding high off of it. But I really enjoyed it. And yeah, I think the film structure is really fascinating. I think it is comedic in time in such a unique way. It just feels like a wildly a crowd pleaser without being something that really appeals to a ton of people outside the Oscars. I don't know. I don't know if this film will win this or anything. I love Mikey Madison, and I want to see her in a million and one more things. I realized after watching this, the director, I have seen Sean Baker, I have seen Tangerine, I have seen Florida Project. The only one I haven't watched is Red Rocket, of his filmography, which I'd love to see at some point. I was really impacted by this, and I know in my SAG video, I was like, I think Kieran Culkin has that Oscar award in the bag, and I still think he does, but I will say, after seeing Yura Borisov's performance in Anora, holy cow, did that man steal the stage. Like, I think that's the other thing about this movie is it feels like you have people who are like literal unknowns in the acting space, and they're delivering performances that are so moving, impactful. I don't know, I really loved Anora. I think it was charming in a really kind of like in a really raunchy way. It was funny. It reminded me a lot of The Bear. Like, if you're a fan of The Bear and the way that they talk over each other and it's chaotic and they're swearing and it's kind of funny, even if it's a really dramatic scene, but then you also kind of get left with the aftertaste of the trauma that this character must be experiencing and the emotional depth of the scene. Like, I just think Anora was the best. So if I had to rank the movies here from this video, I'd put Anora at number 1. I'd then say I'm Still Here, and then I'd put Nickel Boys. And if I had to rank everything I've seen thus far, my number 1, this is really hard. I think my number 1 might still be Conclave. But Conclave and Anora are battling it out for that top first slot and first and second, I guess. Those are kind of interchangeable for me. Those are 2 of my favorite movies from this entire award season. Honestly, I loved them. It's so wonderful too when you get into this awards space at the first quarter of the year, of the new year, after you've seen like a lot of the films in theaters the year before, and you get to find like a new favorite film that competes with that year's films. But I would say Conclave, Anora. I would then still follow that up by Dune Part 2. Not because I think that's going to win, that's just where I would put it as, my favorites. I think I'd then say Wicked, then I would say I'm Still Here, then Nickel Boys, and Emilia Perez would be below that, and then I guess I'd have to put the other 3 below that. I do still intend to watch the Substance. That is the one movie I haven't talked about that much that everyone else is talking about. I think its inclusion does a lot for horror, for the genre of horror. So maybe that's a follow-up, a post-award season analysis of The Substance. I don't know. But yeah, I'm truly and honestly so happy that I even watched 7 of these 10 movies. Will next year be the year? I don't know. I'm sorry to end this video on like a flop. My takeaway from this is going to be just watch more movies. Just go see more movies when they're in theaters, even if I don't think I'm going to like them, and watch all my screeners as soon as I possibly can, so I have the best shot of having seen most of these films when they even come up in a nomination season. I will also say I did watch The Wild Robot, which is a nominee for Best Animated Feature, and I honestly, I don't know. I kind of think it's gonna win. I before was talking about Flow, which I watched in my Golden Globes video, and I really enjoyed that film, don't get me wrong. But I feel like The Wild Robot feels, again, a little bit more like, if people are going to have watched, let me put it this way, if people historically don't watch the animated features for the Oscars and for any of these awards, like, unfortunately, that's just a category that people skip over. I do also think it maybe is a little bit better of a movie than Flow, at least for me and my personal taste. You can sound off on that in the comments. But I'm getting long-winded and this video needs to get edited and posted, and I need to stream tomorrow. So thank you so much for watching. Thank you for following me through award season. If you'd like to see the culmination of my live reactions to the Oscars tomorrow night or tonight, depending on when this gets posted, please hit the subscribe button. Happy Oscars day, and I will see you guys in my very next video. Bye, guys.